Hi class, welcome to class 2 of Business 101. My name is Martin Arredondo and today we'll be running through our 2MC. So our 2MC today is You Pick 2. So essentially you are given a list of options. First, you have the interview with your dream company, Google. Unfortunately, Google only has time slots at 3 p.m. and at 7 p.m. And unfortunately for you, you have two prior obligations. Your first obligation is at 3. You have a class that only has 24 people in it. Now your grade involves both individual and group participation. So if you miss, your grade might take a hit because you were not there. At 7 p.m. you have dinner with your friend. Now your friend flew in from UCLA to come see you. You haven't seen your good friend in a while, and his parents recently divorced. You want to be there for your friend during this difficult time. However, you are left with the decision of that you can only pick 2. Let's run through the decision-making framework and hopefully be able to run through the situation and kind of pick out the best answer. So, what are the issues? Can I have a volunteer to give me some issues in the situation?
I think this is tough because it's mostly a right versus right decision. You have 3 options. None of them are wrong. You're going to meet with your friend, you're going to go to class, you're going to do an interview. All are productive. You're gaining value from each of them. So I think that's an issue in itself. It's one of those defining moments. It's a right versus right decision. You're not going to make a wrong choice, but it's a choice of values, essentially. So I think that's a big issue for you as a person.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. Really, it is a right versus right. The answer isn't black and white, and your values really are tested. Situations like these are really where your values do shine through. So, what rules apply? You have the rules of the company of whether or not they can schedule more interviews. You have the rules of your class of whether or not you're allowed to miss for excused absences. And you have the rules you have set with your friend. How good is your friendship, and would your friendship be able to take a toll of you two not being able to meet together? So, what questions do you have? Can I get a volunteer to give me some possible questions?
I would say, is there any possible way to get out of the class? Because I know professors in college, especially in the College of Business, understand that we have interviews and that these interviews can't get moved or anything. So I'd say, would I possibly be able to get out of the class because of the interview?
That's a great question. I personally have been able to get out of class because of situations such as this, like for interviews and corporate site visits. It's never a bad thing to ask for excused absences, and it'll always allow you to kind of fit everything that you need to fit in one day. So, what are your resources? You can talk to the recruiter and say if it's possible to schedule a later interview. You can talk to your friend and see if maybe you guys can catch lunch or dinner at an earlier time or later time, and you can talk to your teacher. Make sure if it's okay for you to be able to miss class. So, ultimately, what are some of your options? Could I get a volunteer to maybe give me the decision they would go with?
Personally, as awful as this sounds in a class, I would skip the class and go hang out with my friend and go to the interview. I just think that skipping one class is worth it when you got a friend that really needs your help and a chance to really get your dream job.
You are making a decision that aligns with your values, and ultimately that's the appropriate choice. I personally would also skip the dinner with a friend because I would skip the dinner with my friend because personally I feel that if they were such a good friend of mine, they would be understanding my situation and would be willing to meet with me either earlier or later. So ultimately, now that we understand you pick 2, we've all come to a decision that we can all feel comfortable with. Again, remember the decision-making framework for decisions like this and for situations like this, and you can come to a decision that's comfortable with you and your values. Thanks.
Yeah, Martin.
Wow, it was 4-11 again.
Dude, it's fine.
That's funny.